My next guest I had the privilege to sit down with is a Korean American, non binary, transmasc producer, singer, and songwriter. So, within this episode, we talked a lot about their drumming practices, what it was like as a Korean American being raised in the state of Arkansas. We even talked about their musical influences and how to remember life before colonization. And then towards the end of the episode, we talked about how to just be a good human being. And so this episode was actually recorded over 2 different dates, different times, different locations. And so within the episode, you'll hear different shifts in the background. But that's okay, because this episode is so good. And I really appreciate my guest. So I know you're going to enjoy this episode.
Dem Bois, Dem Bois, amplifying, transmitting color voices, yeah, we here making noise, making noise, visibility equals possibility, you know we them boys, them boys, amplifying, transmitting color voices, yeah, we here making noise, making noise, them boys, we them boys, Just consulted with a surgeon the other day, so I need to get some things.
Welcome to Dem Bois Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Aaron, he, him, his. My next guest is a Korean American, non-binary, transmasc producer, singer, songwriter, plus a Korean traditional percussionist and actor. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Yes, I'm so glad to have you here.
I feel so grateful these past few months for community. And we're kicking off, I feel like it's the beginning of June, so we're kicking off Pride just right with you.
Yes.
And Dem Bois Podcast. Yep.
Yes. So you want to go ahead and introduce yourself for folks to know who you are, name and pronouns?
Sure. My name is Envy. I go by they, he pronouns. And I am transmasc, non-binary performer. I am a very multidisciplinary artist. I have been specifically rooting in traditional Korean drumming these days, and rooting in a specific type of Korean traditional music called samulnori, which represents the farmers and the farmers of Korea. And a lot of the instruments were used to gather community, and even people during, like people's rebellions. And music has been used, have been instrumental in keeping the spirits up while Korea was being colonized over and over again. And I am fueled by this feeling called han, which is a visceral, unexplainable feeling of it's a mixture of anger and grief, of injustice. It's a small sliver of land. It's a peninsula, but it's been used in global politics and colonized for so many centuries. And so I use that sort of feeling of han and try to convert it to heung, which is feeling the joy of resistance and towards liberation. So that's what drives my practice. I love genre mixing. I grew up in LA. I was born in LA, and I also grew up. Afterwards, I had to grow up in Arkansas, of all places. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. My uncle was stationed in the military there in Arkansas, and I couldn't be myself, but the fruit of it all was that I was heavily influenced by my marching band director, who was a HBCU band director. And so we sung a lot of, or not sang, also sang. I was the only Asian kid in the gospel choir at Little Rock Central High School, which is one of the first high schools that integrated in the South.
Yes, it is.
Yes. But that's why I'm so influenced by soul music as well, like soul and blues music, because I studied and was was deep within that, like the southern, the southern landscape of music, which is heavily influenced by, you know, Black American, work songs to gospel to, um, and then, I was only there for high school at Little Rock, Arkansas, and then I had to move to Baltimore, Maryland, which is where I study peace and conflict studies. So that's my lens in life is peace studies. Um, and currently, to bring it back full circle, I've been going throughout different parks in LA and in the morning as a ritual to meditate. I've been drumming, um, with my Korean drums, practicing and chanting love and peace for LA because that is very much what we need here and worldwide. But yeah, that's been really grounding me in things. Yeah. So that's a little bit about me.
I love that. And so when you go to the parks in LA, so you're currently based in LA. And so
Yes, I'm
so when you
in
go
Cape
to the
Town.
parks, or do you go by yourself or do you go with a group and drum?
So it depends on the day. Yesterday I was in K Town. Here I was passing by this cafe actually, with a friend who started like a cumbia walk. She's from around here now, lives in K Town, and she was just like, "Hey, let's just create a walking group." And so. Sometimes it is with the group, sometimes it's with the parents, but most of the time it's by myself. Because it's a morning ritual. Um, and I not many people tend to want to meet up early in the morning and have somebody bang drums in your ears.
Right.
That's not everyone's ideal morning. So
Yeah.
but I've been going to Echo Park, Runyon, Griffith, um other places, LA Historic, um yeah, all these different parks. I still need to do like MacArthur Park, and Uh, I'm forgetting some of these parks. Oh, I just did a Barnsdall
Mm.
yesterday, uh, and it's very cool to hear the vibrations of the different kinds of landscapes. Whether it is concrete in the middle of K Town, it's very DTLA-esque here, or Barnsdall, which there were lots of groves of pine trees that have a different resonance, and they're also like really um, there's a lot of biodiversity there too, so it was really cool to see like birds swoop down and uh, interact with the vibrations too.
You
Yeah.
keep referring to it as K Town. So for folks who are listening who don't know the landscape of Los Angeles, what do you mean when you say K Town? I know, but
Oh,
yeah, for folks that don't
yes.
know.
Uh, Not to be confused with the Great Cape Town too, but K Town is short for Koreatown. In LA, it's very central, very close to DTLA. Not even like a mile away. So, but yeah, it's a ethnic enclave. There are lots of ethnic enclaves in LA, as it has been very. I mean, I think both for uh, you know, racial segregation, redlining, all of that, but also for kind of havens within each community too. And Cape Town, it's really weird because the Cape Town that I grew up in is very different than the one I see today. Like I didn't grow up, waking up to like a Beamer or a Maserati right next to me, which is now the case where it's been really gentrified and a lot of these condos are surrounding me right now. It's interesting. Yeah, and so it's changed a lot, but my grandma still is here, like literally 98, and down the
Wow.
road, she's been here for like 30 plus years since she's immigrated here, and so I've also helped my parents to move back, and yeah, a lot of people think maybe I'm like moved to LA for my artistry or to make it or whatever, but really it's for family. Like I really needed my parents to move back here too and be safer than they were in Arkansas. And so yeah, phew, I'm like they're still active like clans people there. Like
Yeah.
it's not safe.
Mm.
So I needed them to come here.
Yeah.
And also join my grandma. So we're happy to be back here, and it's my third, fourth year back in LA. um, moving from Baltimore.
Okay. And so I
Yeah.
want to ask you that too, because I've been to Arkansas. I've been one time and I will never go back again because I'm sorry, but this,
Look, the nature and the barbecue is really good, but
yeah,
everything else,
no,
yeah,
there's nothing there for me. I feel now I don't want to
yeah,
judge folks who are actively, live in Arkansas. But to me, I need culture. And so I'm in California as well. So I'm in Northern California, right? And so I just need to see, I'm in the Bay Area, so I need to see a variety of folks. Arkansas was just
right.
straight up black and white. And so just to know as a Korean American in Arkansas, how was that experience for you? Even going to the school that you're talking about, because I've actually visited that school.
Oh yeah, okay,
And,
very cool. Yeah.
uh, so how do you feel? How was that life growing up there for you in high school?
Well, I was one of those students. Like, it was strange having people tour our school. We're just like, trying to, get our geometry done, or AP, whatever, history done. But there's like people staring at us. um, but yeah, our school, how did Arkansas influence me? Oh, just like, just so many ways. But the only Korean community there is very heavily faith based. Um, and so I feel like I couldn't, um, I was very involved in, you know, I feel like I was very, very religious as like a teenager, but, you know, um, but also I see that because there's such limited numbers, I think people need to be dependent on each other,
Mm,
like in the community to gather resources, and so the church, it was where the only place where there were centers uh, of, like resource hubs, like those were the only resource hubs, and I'm sure probably systemically set up that way as well,
mm, mm-hmm,
um it was a time where I obviously was this religious kid, but also queer kid that
mm,
was driven, or like there was this amount of kind of self hatred preached to me, um,
mm,
or and so I knew that I couldn't be myself, and I knew that Arkansas would be a temporary thing, but those were kind of the economic circumstances we were in, and that's my uncle was stationed there as an Air Force uh, person personnel. Um, I believe he was enlisted in the U.S. Army, like when or recruited when he was in Korea, and came over, and then he started. Yeah, he started a business over there, and he just gave us an opportunity. While it wasn't a great economic time in like early 2000s, like LA.
mm,
Uh, my yeah, it's due to like personal like medical health problems. My dad couldn't work here the way that he did. So he was a truck driver here. Um, and that's how I still know some of these streets, is because I used to like, he used to sit me right next to him in the truck and like do his routes.
mm.
So um, I always dreamed of coming back here. So I knew that even in my dreams, I navigate back to LA, and that's how I navigate the city, the map in my dreams and in my head that I've recollected, because I've always wanted to go back, you
Mm.
know. But yeah, Arkansas was after I graduated high school. I'm pretty sure I was one of the first, like, or one of the two like Asian kids in the whole school. When here I was like one of the 200 Korean kids. It's just
Yeah.
very different demographics, but I believe I coped through it and survived through it by like being class clown. Like I was voted like the funniest or whatever, that's stupid superlative in the yearbook or whatever. But yeah, I'm happy to have had that experience, especially the music that I experienced, like marching band and HBCU marching band style is so different than like I don't like American traditional like just the marching styles are so different too, and the music styles are so different. So I'm really grateful for that experience. And shout out to Mr. Meredith, who was
Nice.
really strict, but really, really amazing, kind of like music philosophy, um, inducing or giving character in my life. Yeah.
The Visibility Equals Possibility collection has new designs and a new designer, me. My name is Zion, pronouns he, him, his, and I was on episode 53 if you want to go back and check that out. But I am the second trans man of color to design for the Visibility Equals Possibility collection. Dem Bois believes visibility equals possibility, and so do I. I am honored to take part in this groundbreaking collection and look forward to seeing what else the collection has in store. My designs represent having confidence and courage to be bold with your visibility. The design, in my mind, says, take the caution you need, but I am here. I hope you all enjoy the designs, and be sure to purchase some designs from me or Emilio to support the gender-affirming programs by Dem Bois. Find the amazing designs of the Visibility Equals Possibility collection and other merch items that I've designed on the Dem Bois shop at dembois.org. That's DEMBOI as in igloo, s.org. And remember, visibility equals possibility.
So in the yearbook, to be voted the most funny or whatever that was, do you feel like that was a survival mechanism for you?
Oh,
Really?
absolutely.
Mm,
I feel like it's kind of a classic trope for a lot of like queer kids growing up. Is
mm.
like, to be like kind of to, get along or like be a little self-deprecating humor, and melt into that. But yeah, I mean, that's how I made friends for sure. But yeah, it was definitely a survival mechanism. I did feel like yeah, just different than everyone else. I knew deep inside I was like queer, but I didn't really come out to myself until after high school.
After high school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and way after high school. I don't think it was safe for me to come out actually. Even at that time.
Yeah. I want to go back just a little bit before we go into your queer journey, but you mentioned about going around the parks in LA,
Yes.
drumming and chanting. So I want to ask you, is the chants, are they in English or in the Korean?
Oh, both
Both.
actually. Yeah, I do
Okay.
try to center uh, in Korean traditional music. My teacher taught me that it is fueled by or catalyzed by the breath. Um, and it's while in a lot of Western music, it's based on two and four. It's based in threes for Korean tradition. So
Oh,
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But it's also not static. It's like it moves with the breath, right? So that three can be held for a little bit longer, or yeah, it could have a little variation. But it says 사랑과 평화, so
uh,
it's love and peace,
love
just
it.
over and over again while I'm
Oh,
drumming, and that's how I center my meditation.
I think that's
Just
beautiful. And so is that
yes.
kind of like sending kind of like well wishes for the well-being of like the folks who are in LA or traveling through, or what is that putting into the air?
The drums have been historically used uh, to call in ancestors, to call in villagers, but also um, protection, and also kind of force out or scare away any like bad lingering spirits as well. So it's kind of an attempt to spiritually cleanse, or um, I think well wishes is a great way of putting it, but it calls in for protection as well. I guess it serves many purposes, but uh, it helps. I do notice that it helps people even just take a little beat, just take a beat and um, be in the present. Um, when, especially in like the streets of LA, there's so much stimuli. So it's kind of it's multi-purpose. And I also I want to be mindful of too much noise too. So sometimes a lot of the time I put on my case, and it's for practice. It's for routine. I don't want people to think that it's a performance. The whole point is not to make noise. It's to call in and ground, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes I put on a case, most of the time, uh, because it's also early in the morning and I don't want to wake up people either. So
Mm.
um, yeah, I'm sorry. I might have gone off tangent from the
No,
question.
no, no. You
Yeah.
answered it really well. I was just wanting to know like the purpose, like you with the well wishes for the city, or like you know, kind of. But you answered it about calling in ancestors, and it can serve many purposes.
Yes,
And so,
yes.
what started that? Because I think that's wonderful, because it's almost like it's and then culturally, right? Kind of feel I almost feel like even in Black culture, like when folks was like, I had a praying grandmother. So it's almost like somebody is
My grandma is a praying grandmother
your
too.
grandmother. Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah. So it's like
So angels all around us, you know.
yes, definitely. So what was the motivator for you to start to actually get out and do that?
Wow, thank you for asking that question because I recently went to a meditation music festival where I performed with my drumming group named Chamsori, which which is a group that kind of rose out of it's like a consortium of like students who organize, and it was mostly like Korean folks now, including like non-binary folks, and it was mostly activism focused with, but with the percussion instruments, which is what drew me to that group. But we performed that and went through this meditation retreat at Deer Park. You know, it was a fundraiser for the monastery there. It was a Vietnamese monastery, and when we were there, we meditated together and just kind of had our hearts kind of broken open,
Mhm.
and I feel like I was able to seek a lot of clarity by like through meditation and that practice. Um, just sitting with all your thoughts and truth and discerning all of those is it could get really hard with the noise in in the city, and so what we went to, after going to that meditation retreat and festival, music festival, I really wanted to bring that practice home, and uh, also, you know, realizing how much anxiety that my parents held and is fueled by due to survival mindset. Um, I thought that, and of course, they don't believe in mental health services
Mm.
because they're that older generation that still thinks that it's stigmatized. I mean, it is, um, to even just acknowledge that, we have a mental health thing that's going on, whereas I feel like it's become more normalized, especially after COVID, like as anyone. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I thought that it would walking would be a tangible way for them to clear their minds. And so I wanted to bring it home. I wanted to bring that practice with my parents. And uh, yeah, and I think I'm just building on it and on that practice. And it's been really cool also with my friend Maida, who is also just a great friend, but also a director who I've worked with. Um, we're working on a queer anthology series of different parts of LA. And I was able to play the best friend of like an activist in Boyle Heights, but I played his best friend who lived in the Japanese part of Boyle Heights at the time. Um, but anyways, off tangent. That friend started a cumbia walk, so it's given me great joy to like do this cumbia walk within Cape Town, but also like just so many. I feel like we're on Mexico land, like we're on stolen Mexican land. So there's a lot of, Latino folks around here and just like dancing with us. But I'm also playing Korean drums at the same time, using Korean like traditional beats with cumbia. That gives me so much joy, like to both like dance to cumbia, but also like bring in my Korean tradition and ancestors. I like to think that we're just like calling in all of our ancestors, whoever in this neighborhood. And yeah, and I hope to keep that going and see how that, um, personally it roots me, but also just I don't see any harm in, wishing well for this city, because I do love this city. There's always so much tension, it feels like, especially because like constantly because of just like police surveillance. Like um LAPD is just, I don't know who's worse, LAPD or NYPD. But there's constantly so much surveillance around here, and that's part of the tension. Not only police, but like authorities, ICE. But I hope that people kind of, through the drumming and walking, people kind of feel it's just kind of a reminder of resilience through joy, I guess. Through, the joy of music too.
Yeah. And I was thinking like when you were talking about just the power of the drum and other folks coming in and dancing with you, thinking of like during colonization, right, is why they, we couldn't speak our languages. We couldn't, have our drums and all of these things, right? Because they know the power that's behind that vibration and just our ancestral remembrance and like think how powerful it is, right? Of no, we want to minimize you, so we're going to take all that shit away. So you can just do what we want you to do, right? And so it's just like to
exactly,
yeah. So
it's the attempt to rob us of our own spirits.
Yes.
Yeah, through robbing us of our culture, when Korea was colonized by Japan, even my grandma surprised me like on an elevator one day, was speaking fluent Japanese. I was like, what? And of course she was forced to learn it and forget or parts of like Korean. Like she can't um she's able to read and write, but it's I'd say it's like it's not working Korean level. She's had to, but she could speak Japanese fluently. Like there has been many, I think, sacrifices due to colonization and power in history that have tried to rob us of our culture. Everything from book banning to stealing the arts, and taking credit for the artisans, or killing the artisans. I think right now we're in the same kind of dark ages. And I keep telling people this, in history, after each dark age, there's a renaissance. So like we have to, as culture bearers, we have to gear up for that. That's what we're doing right now. Like we need to use this time because it's going to come back around, I think. That's the hope that I want to sprout. Um, and I hope to cultivate different practices of, and I would like to, collaborate more with different culture bearers and, in solidarity for a future that we could imagine together. Starting from like culture and sounds.
Hey y'all, Pink Lady here. I am the producer for Dem Bois Podcast, and I am so excited to tell you about my production company,
Pink Lady Productions. We collaborate with creatives like you who are driven to share your message by launching your podcast from A to Z and coaching you through the process. To learn more about our services, check out our website at pinkladyprod.com. That's PINKLADYPROD.com.
I want to ask you, and I love to ask guests this question about our names, right? And we get that opportunity to choose our names or to keep our birth names. And we get to do whatever the hell we want to do, right? Everybody should be able to do what they want to do, but we especially get to do whatever we want to do. So I want to ask you the name NB. How did that name choose you?
I think I was actually given, it's my given Korean name, Eunbi is. If you were to kind of spell it out phonetically, it's Eunbi, but it means silver rain in Korean. Yes, so that's what my parents named me after. And, I was looking for other names, but I really think that Silver Rain suits me. I don't think rain has a gender. I really resonate with the element of water as well. Maybe it's my Pisces Mercury or something, talking in dreams, but I tell people I'm also a big Prince fan, Purple Rain,
Oh, nice.
like Silver Rain. I think Prince to me is like a non-binary icon, but yeah, I think has been like a huge influence to just pop rock music as is. I've kind of phoneticized it to NB, EN apostrophe B, to also kind of give homage and honor to like the core. I think the core of my sound is diaspora blues, but also any sort of pop music, R&B music is rooted in Black culture. Can't forget that. Like in the early 90s, there's like En Vogue, it's kind of calling back to that era too, a little bit. But I know people are like, oh, like how'd you make up that name? But actually it was my given name, and it's kind of become it's become me, the essence of me. And it means many different things to people. So yeah, that's my meaning. That's how I came to be, I think.
Is there a way to say it in Korean, or is it just NB?
It's more like Eunbi, like EUN, so Un, which means silver, and then P means rain.
Beautiful. You know what I love about that you said it means silver rain? For folks that don't know, the strongest element is water. So, and I didn't even know that myself, actually, because I was watching a game show many years ago, and that was a question: what's the strongest element? I thought it was wind, and so I was like, "Well, I'm glad I wasn't the person that they called on the show to help them with this answer, because we would have lost." But I didn't. So, water is the strongest element, and so when I think of that, it's like you're in. I don't know. It's like you're in your strongest element, being water. I love that, actually. Silver rain. Yeah, and one thing about rain don't discriminate. Don't care who you are. It's gonna fall on you. So everything and everyone is touched by the rain. And so I love that energy from you, silver rain. Beautiful.
Yeah. Water is so significant in my life, and I'm sure many other artists' lives. Like I remember, I love how I could go to the ocean and remember how insignificant I am in this world. I'm just a little dot, and it could just swallow me up, and life will still go on. I think that's really cool, and speaks to how water can humble you as well. And we literally need it to live.
Right.
It's kind of very like dystopic to hear how water how it's now traded as a commodity, and how some people feel like it's gold now because of all the like data centers, AI data centers that are being built and need so much water to cool down. I'm thinking about how we can cultivate more awareness of how much water is important to us. But I actually didn't know that water is the strongest element. I would think that it flows more, right? But with pressure like the hose, like I can see how it could be so impactful.
Yeah.
And I guess it depends on what you think of as strength as well. Like what makes it strong.
That's a good point. Yeah. I one thing I appreciate about water, because too, you were also saying how insignificant you feel next to a body of water. But I was looking at just the other day, I was looking at an aerial photo of a beach. And I was looking at it because, the water comes up to the shore and then it washes away. But how powerful as the strongest element, but it doesn't wash us away. So it stays back just enough, right? There's more water than there is land. But the water chooses its power carefully, right? And it doesn't come up past a certain point, right? It protects us, it nourishes us, it gives us, substance, but then it also pulls itself away as this powerful thing. Was like, oh, I could wipe you away if I want, but I'm choosing not to. I'm just gonna come up just enough. Don't forget who I am. I am strong. You are insignificant compared to me, but I'm also, it's almost like it limits its power, so to speak.
Yes, like power conservation, but also it could be both protection too. Protection,
So,
protecting your own power,
Yeah.
Knowing when to exert and
Right.
when not to exert.
right.
I mean, obviously also NB, I'm non-binary and that doubles as that too. But when I go to like a coffee shop or something, people always mishear me and say NV, and I'm like, please don't envy anything. Like,
Yes.
yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah. I hate that. I hate that they ask you what your name is, but then they still get it wrong. Don't even ask me that.
Right.
Just say, what does your name start with? E. Okay, put an E on the cup. Okay, call out E. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I always have to spell it out because my name is spelled so many different ways. My name is SHAWN. People put SHAUN, SEAN. No, I hate when I spell it and they still get it wrong. So that means you wasn't listening. So
Right.
it's like, don't assume. Just if you don't know, ask me again. And then say, oh, how do you spell that? Right? Instead of leaning to your own understanding and still getting it wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing for like pronouns and stuff like
Absolutely.
that, the
Absolutely.
assumptions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask you this. So you navigate the intersections of diaspora and dysphoria to express what they call diaspora blues. And what that is a mission to ancestral dreams through performance and media. You want to explain that? What does that mean for you, that work?
Sure. Yes. Absolutely. Every time I perform, as you have said about your platform and podcast, I feel like I am a vessel, right? A lot of my ancestors, transcestors are on my back, and I'm merely just creating or opening portals to messages and stories that that are channeled from my ancestry, but what hasn't been told or touched upon yet. There's very little to no archives of a lot of like transcestors or gender non-conforming folks in Korea and beyond, but actually like thousands of years ago, like shamans in Buddhist culture have been in like third gender, I think it's more recent since like military occupation, war. I mean, Confucianism is also very like binary with the gender and strict with gender roles. But before militaristic rule, I believe that there were less strict gender roles, and that's what I want to represent. But also, there's this concept of heung, which is it's kind of untranslatable. You can't translate the feeling of it, but it's this feeling, this strong, fervent feeling of just a mixture of anger and for injustice in the world. And I think that's due to the years and years and years of colonization of the people and the lands. I also believe that sorrow is also rooted in how families have been, torn apart by like the Korean War. the split of North and South Korea, like all that sadness and grief, I think, from, whether it's colonization or war trauma, I think it's, that itself too is passed down generations. And I would like to feel and be honest with those gut feelings and kind of transmute that sorrow, anger to music, to song, to joy, and make sure that people don't suppress those feelings, but also kind of transmute it to some of the empathy that needs to be had in this world where, there are so many oppressive forces now, from here to Palestine, and the same things happening, the same type of genocide, colonization happening. And I don't want, as East Asians, I think, with like lighter skin or like now some sort of proximity to whiteness, I think it is very important for us to remember our history, remember life before colonization. And I want to, through my music and storytelling, I want to remind my peoples and folks, diaspora, about the grief and sadness and conversations that need to be had. I think we, as East Asians, I've lived most of my life in the States, so that's gonna be my lived experience. But I will say, just generations of, war-torn trauma, I think it just like it lives inside me and ready to kind of explode, kind of on the stage and transmute. That's what I hope to keep doing. Yeah, and in collaboration with other diasporas too, I think the proximity to whiteness also kind of translates into self-erasure or erasure of own history, of own lineage to fit in this mold that capitalism wants you to be in to have economic success, right? But it's also that self-erasure, that erasure of history is deeply hurtful, whether you know it or not. And money will definitely not buy you connection to your roots. It's only separated us from ourselves and our heritage roots. But it's been lovely collaborating with many diasporic people. Yesterday, I had a performance with. It was a performance art curated dinner, very intimate because it's still, we're all. It was like a 3-week turnaround. So we were trying to gather the chemistry of a Palestinian pole dancer, a singer who named Storai. I'm also wearing her jewelry. She's a jewelry maker as well. Each piece has a story. And myself with my Korean traditional drums. So we were trying to find a flow, collaborate with the aim of transmuting our collective sorrow and pain for the injustices of the world that are going on now to pleasure, what it means. The piece started with Sodai. It was an interactive dinner. So among this performance art that's happening, people were like eating. The third or fourth artist was a Moroccan chef. So
Oh,
we were
nice.
served, Moroccan food in something called tangines, it's like a cone figure on the top as a lid. And then it's made out of clay too. And it's just like slow cooking, like chicken, fish, with all these different herbs.
Oh, wow.
She's an amazing chef named Min Tangine on Instagram. I just want to like shout out all these amazing artists. The piece starts with Storai, who is covered in this black cloth on a ladder. I don't know if I'm doing like spoilers or whatever, but it's also can't be recreated.
Right. You had to be there.
But she's covered head to toe with black cloth, which symbolizes like a burqa. She identifies as an Arab woman, femme. And we really wanted to work through together what it means to relinquish shame, and the kind of societally, socially embedded kind of, how do I say, like shrinking of the self to accommodate and to fit in such a world that is built for cisgender men, and especially in the cultures in Korean culture is very patriarchal, and I think personally, I think it's due to the military complex that's so deeply embedded in Korean culture because the military service is for 2 years. You have to go to the military, like all cis men in Korea do.
Wow.
It's required. Yeah.
Wow.
And so it's like very embedded. Everything, I think it's probably once you're in the army, it's like kind of brute force and the macho masculinity to uphold the country is that's very much embedded. I think in a physical way for a lot of Korean men. That's something that I haven't been through personally. But if you're a citizen of Korea, you're still, you have to be ready for a war at any time,
Can women enlist, or is it just, like here in the States, like women and men can enlist? But in Korea, is it just for men? That's it? Women aren't allowed to, I don't know how to say it, or I don't even like it to say it in this way, but like protect their country, or, they can't enlist in the military?
I'm sure there are women in the military, but they're not required to.
Ah, got you. Okay.
I don't think many women do. I think it's probably like 99% men or cis men. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's just kind of very unheard of, and it's still very strictly patriarchal in Korea. Although I will say it was just allowed to, I think something similar to civil partnerships or whatever are allowed with same-sex marriage or same-sex couples, but I don't think it means marriage or anything like that. I feel like even that was groundbreaking in Korea, and that just happened maybe not even a year ago.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
But yeah, it's still a requirement, and I think it's still heavily, like, I had a friend in college who went away for 2 years to do the military service, and he was telling me, it changes you. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like he said, he's become more conservative after the military training he got. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Just like values-wise and politically. And so, if that is mandated for all males, like, I think that'll just, further cement, like, political propaganda ideology and patriarchy, really.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. I'm like, when you said that, I'm like, do you consider it more of a brainwashing? Because if folks come out and they're more conservative, it's like, what type? Because I'm assuming, did he mention like some of the things that happened within like the military training? Or is it just like a don't ask, don't tell, they don't want to talk about it type of thing? But I'm just changed now.
Yeah, I think it's the latter, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised that, like, if, you know, they got, you know, punished, you know, physically, and or had to witness a lot of violence, or it's just, I hear it's just really, really tough. I mean, when my parents were growing up, corporal punishment was like a huge thing, like, it's just normal, you know. Nowadays, it's not allowed at all. People would sue each other. But yeah, it's kind of unspoken about. Yeah, but I'm sure there's so many things that are unspoken about in the military.
Yeah, I'm very sure.
Yeah, if there were, I don't know, if there were like romantic bonds or something, don't talk about that stuff. No.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah,
in the opposite spectrum, if they were to bond with their homie or whatever.
Right, exactly. But that's even outside of even the military, like things that people do that they don't even want to talk about because it's just everything is looked at as, I don't know, people aren't allowed to just live out of the military, in the military. It's just like we just don't have the freedom to just be who the hell we are and have these experiences. We aren't allowed to have these human experiences, whatever that may be. I don't know. You fell in love with your roommate. Oh, I got to hide that. Why? If you love your roommate, love your roommate. You know what I mean? 2026 marks 10 years of Dem Bois Inc. That's 10 years of community care, 10 years of leadership rooted in love, and 10 years of turning visibility into possibility. And so to honor this milestone, we've launched our 10 for 10 campaign. You're like, Sean, 10 for 10, what's that? So we are inviting you, our listeners, our supporters, our allies, and other folks in the community to give $10 a month to help sustain the care, leadership, and visibility that trans men of color deserve. And so 10 years is a very long time, right? That's a decade. Can you imagine raising a child for birth and then looking at them at their 10th birthday party and being like, wow, you've watched so much of their growth within that 10 years, right? That's the same for us. And so Dem Bois Inc., over the 10 years, we have done a lot. And so we have provided gender affirming surgery grants to trans men of color to obtain gender affirming surgeries. We started this podcast. We are now in season 4 of the podcast in 2026. We created our Visibility Equals Possibility merch. We partnered with Emilio and Zion, both trans men of color, to design what visibility equals possibility means to them. And it's reflected in our merch. We also partnered with the Black trans man, Mola Flow, to create our theme song. And that's the music that you hear every time you tune into Dem Bois Podcast. We've done merch. We've done partnering. We have delivered care packages to trans men of color in need of personal hygiene items within our community. We have done a lot in 10 years. And so imagine what the next 10 years will look like. Donating $10 a month says, I believe in this work. I believe in the future of trans men of color, and I believe in what comes next. And so if this call resonates with you, join us today. And we've even made it easy. You don't even got to go anywhere. Whatever platform you're listening to this episode, go ahead and open up the show notes. And from there, you will be able to click the link to start your contribution to our 10 for 10 campaign. Your monthly support helps ensure Dem Bois can continue showing up for our community with intention, care, and impact. So thank you for listening and thank you for believing in our mission. Okay, and I'm going to get out of here so you can listen to this episode. Take care. I want to go back for a second because you said something that really stuck out to me. You said, remember life before colonization. And you also were talking about trauma being in our bodies. And so they say that trauma lives inside of our bodies for 7 generations. So that got me to thinking, because a couple of episodes ago, I had a guest by the name of Win Neal, and he mentioned how they didn't even know that there were trans ancestors. Right, they just learned about it when they went to City College in San Francisco, and so they took a trans history course. And so it's all of this is. I'm saying all of that to say this: to remember life before colonization. And so they're younger. Wynn is much younger than I am. I don't know how old you are, so I don't want to assume, right? But I'm 45, and so they're much younger than me. And so it's kind of like, if you were saying remember life before colonization, how do we do that? What if it's somebody that's young, right? How do we gain that knowledge? How do we retain it? How do we pass it on? Like, how do we remember? Like, we don't know, because I wish I knew what life was like before colonization, because I don't like it here, the after part, right? And so, so how do we remember that?
It's a huge question. In my experience, I think it takes both research, but also how I connect is through the community of Korean traditional drumming, and like-minded individuals who have the same kind of passion for trying to reroute something. I think colonization and all the propaganda that is put onto us is not natural.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Because if the point of accumulating profit, since the beginning of time, like that's not what humans were like naturally,
Yes,
geared to do, or that wasn't our goal. Just naturally is, I think the human goal is to take care of ourselves and each other, take care of the land around us. So much of that is divorced from our daily, especially in the United States. I think, delving into community and connecting with elders. I know a lot of myself and other community members have altars and have, rituals, and also like speak to their ancestors or pray to their ancestors. So there's that piece. I think it's intuitive to reroute. But also it takes a lot of research and willingness, because a lot of the history isn't archived. It's through oral histories. It's through people's knowledge, and it's passed down. So I think it naturally occurs when you start searching for ways to connect. I think the way that I reroute and try to remember what life is without, or not without, with before colonization, is really just connecting with community elders, listening to stories. Besides that research bit, which is really hard to do anyways, because it's like the archives, like who archived these stories?
Right.
No one. And I'm sure there was a significant amount of book burning that happened many eras ago, and still does, I feel like, with banned books. But I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think so. And I it does answer my question. And I was just thinking about what you're saying of like tapping into elders. I remember some years ago, I was in a healing circle, and an elder that's indigenous to this land prior to the United States. And one of the things that he mentioned was, when you're talking about before colonization, he was saying something that I never really thought of, but it's also about oral history, right? And so that's how you learn, is from somebody and listening to an elder. And it's one thing to listen, but it's also a thing to listen and receive. So I listened and I received what he said. But he was talking about how greed did not exist in indigenous cultures prior to colonization.
Yeah.
And it's like he was saying how, like, you know, just that alone, just hearing that was mind blowing to me. Because all I know is greed. All I know is, you know, we got people in this country that worth billions of dollars. Like, if that ain't greed, I don't know what the fuck is, right? When you still have people hungry on the street, right? It just doesn't make sense to me. And so it's kind of a two-edged sword, because I kind of agree with folks being able to, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. Like, I never actually say this out loud, like on this show, but so for instance, let me put it in a way that's easier. If you're an author or if you're a musician, I'm going to say a musician because that's what you are. You're a performer. If you put on 1,000 shows and your tickets for 1,000 shows is, I don't know, I'm just giving a number, a greedy number, $1,000 per person for a seat. So to go see NB at these 1,000 shows, you selling out 30,000. This is like a Beyonce level, right? You selling out 30,000 seats, and each seat is $1,000. Soon enough, you will obtain wealth, right? Who am I to say that the money that you earn is not yours? That's your money. You perform, you earned it. But what are you going to do with that money? Is it okay to keep it all? I feel like you deserve it because we're paying you for a service. You entertained us. And so it's kind of complex to me, but I see it as a difference between being greedy and saying, hi, I gained all of this. This is all mine. And you stepping on folks to get to your house on the hill, right? Instead of reaching back and giving back to others. I don't know. It's kind of heavy. I don't know if I kind of went off on a tangent, but it's kind of like.
Not at all. I heavily agree on the elders' comment how greed isn't natural to us, and I tried touching on the point, like, because we humans weren't put on this earth to just merely gather resources or accumulate wealth, or
I agree.
You know, that only I think that probably came, you know, after capitalism was more developed and civilizations have developed more. But yeah, there's with billionaires, there's also like philanthropy, right? That whole concept of philanthropy. But it also just turns into kind of tax havens for them to accumulate more wealth. So it's
right.
like even the concept of philanthropy is like corrupt.
Right.
Are they actually giving back?
Right.
Or are they just trying to evade taxes?
Well, of course they are, because they don't pay them. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people are very much. It's so oxymoronic.
Yeah.
Just seeing the streets of LA with. Just there's so much wealth in LA, but like it's just so dispersed, so just unequally.
Yes.
And you see like homeless encampments right below like a empty huge condo that nobody's in because it's like traded for real estate wealth. You know, it makes no sense when those spaces could be filled with people who are literally dying on the streets here. So I think right now the most invaluable resource besides water is empathy. And that's the only way. Yeah, that's the only way we can reroute. And
oh my goodness, that's such a good point. I wish we had a longer time to record, because that is something that I talk about all the time, about people lacking empathy and how it's hard for a person like myself that cares about the well-being of people. But this world is so harsh and people are so mean to each other that I feel like I'm turning into one of those people. And I tell my sweetheart this all the time. I don't want to be one of those people. I want to remain soft. I want to remain empathetic. I want to remain just caring about people. I don't want to be, but people make it so difficult to be this person. It makes me emotional because I battle this all the time. And even when I was raising my son, he would always be like, Dad, why are you so nice to people? People don't give a fuck. I said, it don't matter if they don't give a fuck. That doesn't mean that we have to stop being nice and being caring and being loving and showing, support for people. Right. We just,
especially as like masculine presenting people, when
yes,
you're expected to have kind of a hard exterior shell as a expression of strength.
yes,
And why can't softness also be strength? Why can't empathy
yes,
also be viewed as strength?
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm a crybaby. I will cry at the drop of a dime. I don't care what it is. I love Disney movies. I cry all the time at Princess and the Frog. It's one of my favorite movies, but I'm always crying about it, right? And that's okay. And my mother raised me and my brothers. I mean, obviously, I was socialized as to be a woman, but my mom, even I would watch how she raised my two brothers, and my middle brother, he's a crybaby too, and she would always say, "It's okay to cry." You can be a boy, you can be a man, you can be a male, whatever you identify your gender expression, you can cry. It's okay. Right. And we need that softness, that it's okay to be soft. It's okay to care about other people, other human beings. Right. It frustrates me. So NB, what is next for you?
I would say, so I'm developing an EP album with just years of throughout my transition and my practices with singing and Korean drumming. Want to convey, my journeys and, continue my storytelling. I will have a feature coming up. I don't know if I'm able to tell, but on TV.
Okay.
So that's coming up for me in the horizon. It was specifically like a makeup challenge for like a drag king show. That's probably enough to
Okay.
yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to more collaborations with this collective, this artist collective that I've been working with. And those events, I think, will be more intimate and more intentional. Um, yeah, we ask people to be as present as possible. And yesterday it was like a performance with 20 people. It was pretty intimate. Yeah, as we have become kind of sick of um, feeling so disconnected with our phones. I think more in-person events and connecting in person will be on the rise.
Yes.
And so hopefully I will see and connect with many people out there. In person. And I will definitely announce more performances on my Instagram.
Beautiful. So we'll make sure to plug your Instagram into the show notes. And so for folks that want to come see you perform, or that's what they'll be able to find out, is if they follow you on Instagram.
Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I'm also looking for collaborators all the time too. So, including producers or,
I love that.
Much to look forward to.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, NB, this is the part of the show where I love to ask my guests a random ass question. My list of questions is always growing. I got 87 questions now. I'm not going to ask you all of them. Just pick a number between 1 and 87 and I'll read you that question.
Ooh. I'm going to go with number 77.
Number 77. So last season, I asked guests who were a guest on the show to leave a question for future guests to answer. And so this is one of those questions. Alexander Ray Simone Perez asked this question. I'll make sure to plug their episode into the show notes so if folks want to check out that episode. So the question is, what can self-love look like for you today?
It looks like carving out the time to realign with myself and carving out the time to dedicate to my art practices. And also, I love hitting Wi Spa, the Korean spa.
Okay.
Making sure that the body is okay. I do a lot of physical, drumming, and it's very taxing on the body. So, being more graceful and more understanding when your body actually needs rest. Um, yeah. Well, I'm on go mode all the time, and capitalism does that to us. And sometimes it feels like I'm not doing enough, or like, and so I need to just keep going to absolve the problem. But sometimes, oh man, you gotta slow down and listen to your body when you need the rest. And that in itself is revolutionary, as Audre Lorde has said.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, that's what self-love looks like, and even reminders to the self, um, and the body. Like for example, I feel like it's kind of chronic within a lot of like trans folks to, and people in general though, like who feel stress to kind of cave in your
Mm.
shoulders a
Mm-hmm.
little bit from like hiding your chest or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Self-love reminders is like, oh, let me open up the chest. Let me make sure I feel comfortable and safe here within my body. So it could look as simple as stretching, and reminding yourself that you deserve to take up space, um, by opening up your shoulders and chest, and to speak with your chest, to speak with your truth and your belief. Yeah.
Yes. Some of that was for me, I think. You was talking directly to me. Man, listening to your body. Listen to your body. Your body knows, and your body will try to tell you. I tell folks all the time. I'm telling myself now because you just told me, but I'm reminding myself that you want to take care of your body voluntarily before it makes you do that involuntarily.
Yes, it will scream at you.
Yeah, for sure. And it will break you all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, MB, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Is there any last words you'd like to say before we get up out of here?
I would love to keep, spreading love and peace. That's all I want to do. And I feel the same kind of energy from you and what you're doing with this podcast, what we're talking about. And, we were talking about how empathy is such an invaluable resource right now. And that's how we show love and peace is empathy, is even if it's like in consideration and it's quiet. It's to preserve love and peace, and there are many ways of doing that too.
Yes.
Whether it's quiet protest or being really angry in the streets and you have to protest, but yeah, I hope that we can keep uplifting each other.
Yes.
Yeah, as trans folks, as transmasc folks, we're going through hell of a lot right now, and the least we can do is empathize with each other.
Yes.
When capitalism just wants to pit each other together, that's how we will resist.
Absolutely. Go be a good human. And if you're not a good human, go be a better human.
Yeah. I'm trying, man.
Right, exactly.
Making noise,